Looks like the Buffalo Bills will be making a quarterback change. E.J. Manuel will be benched and Kyle Orton will start. Are you laughing that Kyle Orton will start, or just the fact that the Bills
are just a mess?
They're just a mess.
And they look good, 2-0.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happened?
Why?
They're the Bills. They just start out really good in the first couple of games. And by the way, great football fans in Buffalo. Great football fans in Buffalo. I'm glad that the team is staying there. And I think, and it's always been a great rivalry with the Patriots going back to the old AFL days. So, as long as they stink when they play the Patriots, but they never do. They always play them tough. They always play the Patriots tough. Morris Claiborne, cornerback for the Cowboys, out for the season with a torn patellar tendon.
That's a huge blow for the Cowboys.
Huge. Well, you know what? The Cowboys are one of the strangest football teams I've ever seen. And they have so much talent on that team, and they just can't get it done. And it never will with Jerry Jones running the play. I'm just not a big Jerry Jones fan. Sorry, Jerry. Like you care what I think. Okay. Teddy Bridgewater, the rookie, played yesterday for Minnesota, hurt his ankle. MRI comes back negative. Obviously, he'll be day-to-day, but chances are he'll play again on Sunday.
And he performed pretty well against Atlanta. Atlanta's got a tough D.
Okay, the other thing is just coaches being idiots. We don't need that.
Nope.
And let's move on to the roundup. So, Joe, you're going to start us off with the Dallas. And hang on a second. I'm going to make a message here. This is good. Give us the Dallas thing.
All right, so the primetime game last Sunday night, Dallas Cowboys against a struggling New Orleans Saints just
Can
got
you call the
even
guest?
more.
Can you call my guest? He just called me.
And it's not gotten better for the Saints. They lost to the Cowboys 38-17. Basically, the Cowboys steamrolled over the Saints. You gotta think, the New Orleans Saints, they were supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. Now they're sitting at 1-3. I mean, let's look at what the Cowboys did.
Just hit his mobile number, Stan.
DeMarco
He
Murray.
might be lost. I don't know.
DeMarco Murray leading the NFL in rushing yards, 156 more yards. And Sean Payton for the Saints, he said he's widely regarded as one of the NFL's best game players and play callers. Obviously, what he's doing right now is not working, as the Cowboys just basically took over the Saints in the Superdome.
And the Saints are one of the biggest surprises negatively in the National Football League, because a lot of people had them picking them to go to the Super Bowl. And by the way, at 1-3, they're not out of it.
Of course.
No.
You know, far from it. But they're certainly not playing up to their capabilities.
That's right.
Agree? Agree.
All right.
Tom Kelly, talk about Baltimore and Carolina. The Ravens go to 3-1.
The prodigal son returns, Jimmy. Steve Smith Sr. had 2 touchdowns for 139 yards in his big homecoming to stick it to the people who cut him. It was great because he's the definition of blood, sweat, and tears.
And was surprised
I love
didn't see
those.
that on the field. Didn't see the blood, sweat, tears, and guts.
And I believe he had a quote in the locker room, like saying something like, "Oh, I ran around them like they were schoolyard kids."
Oh, burn!
Hey, he talked about it with the Ravens defense. He said, we're basically like school bullies. We take your lunch money, we pick on you. That's how he wants the Ravens to play, and they did that.
Right.
And
we don't want to reinforce bullying at any.
Of course.
No.
Okay.
Bullying's not good.
No, not good. I agree.
So,
All right.
long story short, the Ravens beat the Panthers 38-10.
All right.
A lot like the Franklin Panthers.
All right, we're all good. All right, let's go to Joe for Minnesota and
All right,
Atlanta.
So we brought this up earlier. Teddy Bridgewater getting his first career start, did leave with an ankle injury, but it didn't matter as the Vikings beat the Atlanta Falcons 41-28, as a rash of injuries for the Falcons basically took them over. Center Joe Hawley, guard Justin Blaylock, right tackle Lamar Holmes. They were all down, and basically they put a tight end in the offensive line, which is saying a lot.
Sounds like the Patriots.
Exactly. So, but the Vikings, they tied a franchise record 4 rushing touchdowns, and who's Adrian Peterson?
Who?
We don't need him because
Because
Matt,
he's a child abuser. That's why you don't need him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Matt Isiata is taking over his role, scoring 3 times.
What does that tell you about professional sports, though? Is there really that big a difference? If you have a hole to run through in the National Football League and you're a smart running back, you can run through that hole, whether your name is Asiata or Peterson. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody thinks Adrian Peterson's the greatest thing since Barry Sanders, and he's had a great career. But they haven't missed a beat. I don't think they'd be any different. I don't think their record would be any better than 2-2 if Adrian Peterson
if he was playing.
Well, they were talking about advancing the pass game because they relied so much on Peterson years back. That's what they kind of wanted to do with Castle, and now with Castle out, they basically got to restart with Teddy Bridgewater, and so far so good.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the Niners in Philadelphia
Yes, it
with
is.
Tom Kelly. All right.
The San Francisco 49ers beat the Eagles, come from behind win, 26-21. And something interesting about the Eagles this game, no offensive touchdowns, just special teams and turnovers. They didn't their offense didn't pass midfield until the fourth quarter.
Right, and this is Chip Kelly's famed offense, right?
Yeah.
Not so much.
Just
When
a
you
bunch
play,
of
it just shows you again, a good defense is going to stop a good offense in football any day of the week.
And they just had 2 more first downs than turnovers in the third quarter. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's certainly not
And the 49ers, they've just been playing sloppy.
Yeah.
Sloppy.
And the
Even though
49ers
they didn't get the win.
And the 49ers tripled the time of Eagles possession, which is another crazy factoid.
Now that time of possession stat can work,
Well, basically,
can make sense.
it's basically sloppy. Special teams defense wasn't good. Kaepernick making mistakes. Like, there were so much mistakes. I remember watching this game. This was one of the games I paid attention to most. There was a play in the fourth quarter. Kaepernick was giving signals, had no idea about the time clock, and Harbaugh was livid. That just goes to show you that the Niners aren't on their game. This isn't, the 49ers that we've seen go to 3 straight NFC championships.
But they grinded it out, and they found a way to win.
And you know what? That's what good
And
teams
Frank
do,
Gore had
by
a
the
good
way.
game.
That's what Frank Gore had an amazing game.
Yeah.
And he's a great running back. I enjoy watching him. All right, next up, Joe, San Diego and Jacksonville. Blake Bortles.
Close
first
game.
start. Not so much.
Well,
How bad is
basically-
Jacksonville?
Well, I'm sure all you sports fans know around that basically anything with Jacksonville, the other team's going to win. As the Chargers beating the Jaguars 33-14. Phillip Rivers having, once again, another great game. But the biggest story, Eddie Royal scoring 2 of the first San Diego touchdowns, catching those 2 touchdowns, and that basically went off. Now, as for Blake Bortles getting his first career start, he was picked off twice, and he had to play catch-up, basically, in the second half. But he only had 8 incompletions on 37 attempts. So that goes to show you that maybe this could be the future if Jacksonville can get some weapons for him.
Hey, here's a note. Greg Rosenthal, who wrote this, I believe, for ESPN. The Jaguars coaching staff looks ridiculous for playing Chad Henne for 3 games. Bortles makes Jacksonville so much better. They actually might win a game or 2. We'll see.
We'll find
Is
out.
Tampa on their schedule? Has anybody able to tell me, did Jacksonville play Tampa?
No, it's Jacksonville and Oakland.
All right, I know.
We'll get to Oakland later.
Yeah. I think I handle Oakland because they're in the I'll overseas that game. All right, next up, Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh. Probably the biggest upset of the day.
If there's one word to describe this game, it would be awesome. Because,
Nobody
first of all,
likes
the team,
Nobody likes the Steelers.
the team and the location in Pittsburgh, against Pittsburgh, fantastic. After getting the ball back in the last minute, Alex Smith threw to Vincent Jackson and for the touchdown with 7 seconds to go. Awesome. Like I said before, just plain awesome.
Well, this makes you
Who likes the Steelers?
I mean, I'm a fan of the
Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
What? Pittsburgh.
I'm a fan of the Steelers.
All right,
I
all
like
right.
how they play. Now, the
Ripping
thing
off the
about
black
Tampa
and
Bay
gold.
is that, Josh McCown out with another game. Is out with a thumb injury, and then they put Mike Glennon in, who threw it to Vincent Jackson, which, by the way, if you did not see that Vincent Jackson catch, you need to check it out. You need to check it out. Now, this raises questions for Tampa Bay and on head coach Lovie Smith. Who would you start at quarterback? Would you take Josh McCown, who did excellent last year, replacing Jay Cutler? Or would you rather go with Mike Glennon, who led the comeback? It definitely raises questions.
Go with the hot hand. That's how you do it. All right, where are we now?
Lions,
Lions and the Jets.
Lions and the Jets.
It was 24-17. Basically, no Calvin Johnson for most of the game as he was nursing his ankle injury. But Matthew Stafford showed that he didn't really need him. But Rex Ryan, the biggest story right now, Rex Ryan announcing that Geno Smith is going to stay the Jets starter as opposed to Michael Vick. And the biggest story right now with Geno Smith is that he actually cursed at a heckling fan. We don't know if he'll get a fine or a suspension.
Oh, the poor baby.
I will go with a fine.
I think that was a certain finger salute, if you will, as well as some expletives too. And Geno Smith, acting, 23-year-old kid, he's like, I screwed up. Good that he took it. He took responsibility for it. He says, I'm 23. I make mistakes. I'm sorry. He lost it. It's frustrating.
Yep.
Anytime you're a competitor and you don't play up to the performance that you expect yourself
And if you're
to
caught in the heat of battle.
Absolutely. And of course, now the crowd, New York, very patient people in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Everybody loves them.
calling for Michael Vick. Do you expect Michael Vick to see some action at some point?
I mean, with what I've seen from the Jets coaching staff, no. Because I'm going to flash back to 2012 when Mark Sanchez started struggling. Everyone wanted Tebow. They didn't get Tebow. They stuck with Sanchez the rest of the way. With Rex Ryan and the coaching staff, I highly doubt that Michael Vick will be going in. Now, it will shock me if they put Michael Vick in for Geno Smith because they still have to play the Patriots twice. They have got some tough opponents on their schedule, and if they want to win now, they're going to go with Michael Vick. If they want to say, oh, Geno Smith is our QB for the future, they're going to stick with Geno Smith.
All right, next game is my game. The Dolphins and the Raiders. Dolphins winning 38-14. And I believe it was Dennis Allen who once said, you are what you are. You are what you think you are. Right?
Yes.
Right?
And the Oilers,
the Raiders.
The Raiders
stink.
are horrible.
They've lost 10 straight games, okay? And here's a great stat.
They epitomize a terrible team. They are the
they
truly, absolutely terrible
and Miami
terrible
goes
team.
to London and does what they have to do. It looks like Miami is going to be the team that will challenge the Patriots in the AFC East if that works out that way. We'll see. But don't forget, Miami did beat the Patriots in opening game.
Yes, they did.
So in order to, the first tiebreaker is head-to-head.
Yep.
So the Patriots have to win in Foxborough against Miami to offset that win in Miami earlier. All right, here's a great stat. Among coaches with at least 36 games, only 5 in NFL history have a worse winning percentage than Dennis Allen's 222. And no, I'm not going to ask you which 5 they are because obviously they've been forgotten. I'm going to go out on a limb and think Rich Kotite was one of them, though. All right, let's move on. And we're going to go to me again.
Surprising Houston team.
Houston, another AFC East team. Buffalo Bills, they lose 23-17 to Houston. Houston Texans, maybe one of the surprise teams in the NFL this year, now at 3-1.
And just think when they get Jadeveon Clowney back, how more dangerous that defensive line is going to be. Let's look at J.J. Watt. Not only does he have an offensive touchdown, he had an interception touchdown last game. He's at the top of the list for NFL touchdowns among offensive players. So that just goes to show you how good J.J. Watt is. He can play on the offense as well as defense. And when they get Jadeveon Clowney back, that's going to be the two-headed monster that nobody wants to face.
And he's got a great commercial out right now for Geico.
I believe it's Verizon.
What is it,
Verizon?
Yep.
You know what? Who knows? All I know is
it's a funny commercial.
Two dorky teachers dancing at the end
Yep.
of the commercial. I just remember that. Okay, let's see. Who's next? It's going to be Joe, I think, with Indianapolis and Tennessee.
All right, so the Indianapolis Colts arguably having their best game of the year, beating the Titans 41-17. Let's face it, everyone on the Indianapolis offense just went off. Andrew Luck, he is rolling. He is right now, I would say, my candidate for MVP. He's one of my candidates for MVP.
It's funny that I was actually listening to some sports talk radio today. What a shock. And
Really?
They were talking about some of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Andrew Luck's name didn't come up.
Really?
And I was like,
Who was it?
no, we don't have to go with the host, but who they mentioned? They mentioned Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
They mentioned Phillip Rivers, and they mentioned Peyton Manning.
Okay.
And
Where's Andrew Luck in
where's
that
Andrew Luck in
conversation?
that? Seems
He
to me
needs
Andrew
to be
Luck.
in this
Phillip Rivers
conversation.
is in there?
Well, Phillip Rivers threw for 370 yards yesterday or something like that. He had a big day. But Andrew Luck is the guy. He's the
Yeah.
future. He
He's
is
the
absolutely
man.
a future MVP.
He is the man for the Indianapolis Colts, and I have a feeling he will be a contender for the NFL MVP this season. Now, along with Andrew Luck having a good game, Reggie Wayne also went off, having a couple scores and a few 100 yards. And as for the Titans, they didn't have Jake Locker. They put in Charlie Whitehurst, but shockingly, that's not the reason why they lost. The Titans had the longest run of the game and committed a turnover on an interception that it really wasn't his fault. So basically right now the Titans are struggling, and there are many reasons why.
All righty.
Very aptly put.
And Green Bay and Chicago.
The old rivalry.
Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, the Green Bay Packers beat the Chicago Bears 38-17, and before the game, Aaron Rodgers told Packers fans, told Packer Nation, told the Cheeseheads to RELAX. Relax. And did he deliver? Yes, absolutely he did. He's 22 for 28 for passing with 302 yards. He wasn't four touchdowns.
Four. That's a handful. Almost a
handful. That would be
but
5.
If you don't have a thumb, it's a handful.
Okay.
Sorry.
He wasn't pressured at all day. He picked apart the Bears secondary. It was just a fun day if you were a Packer fan.
And
Fun
speaking
day
of
if you're a
fun,
Packer fan.
speaking of
Jamie,
fun-
you a Packer fan? We have a Packer fan out
Speaking
there.
of fun fact, Aaron Rodgers has now passed 25,000 career passing yards.
And
That is a fun
do you
fact.
guys want to know what Jay Cutler did?
What did Jay Cutler do?
He was just Jay Cutler. Very
Didn't
Jekyll and
really-
Hyde.
This is what I talked about with Jimmy Myers last week. If you remember last week, we were
I remember.
talking about
Yeah, I remember,
Monday
Jim.
Night Football,
Yep.
Jets and Bears. The Bears need to start being consistent, and it starts with Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler is not being consistent.
Jay Cutler
He
has
has
never
been
been
consistent.
That was really good. We didn't even practice that. That was well done.
So
Brilliant
and-
minds think alike. That
Yes,
was
they
fun.
do, Jay.
I mean, Cutler went off against the Jets, but he had a poor performance against the Packers. So, which Jay Cutler are we gonna see? Let's go back. Last year, they were eliminated on the last day when Aaron Rodgers came back and threw the touchdown to Randall Cobb. That's when they were eliminated. So it tells you a lot when the Packers had Matt Flynn and Scott Tolzien at quarterback. The Bears still couldn't get the division.
All right. Good stuff, guys. Great roundup, by the way. 30 minutes.
We're awesome.
15 minutes NFL roundup, 15-minute Patriots KC recap. That's how we're going to cut them up, so you don't have to watch 3 hours of this entire broadcast. You can actually cut it up. That's going to be my job, but I'll take care of that.